Hey everybody, welcome to the channel. This is our first video and I'm really excited that you found us. I was always wondering if I could do this sort of thing and so we're going to try it out. We're going to see how it goes. Give me your feedback, give me your comments. I love feedback and comments. And as we get this channel started, we want this to be a place that's helpful to you, that's a great place for the community and where we can answer any questions that might come up. Because I think there's going to be a lot of them with what we're going to talk about. I'm Nathan Carlson. This is Sixth Sense Snakes, and I just want to tell you our story today. So let's get into that. One of the things you're going to find out here at this channel is that I am quite a storyteller. I like telling stories, and I like to frame things in that way. And so the story really begins with me in my childhood. When I was growing up, I loved animals. I loved all sorts of animals. We had a dog, a couple of them. And my neighbors often asked us to babysit their pets as they went away. My babysitter's son had a turtle, and we watched that for a week. I decided at that moment I really did not want turtles. And that didn't mean that all reptiles or amphibians were off for me, because I had a real interest in snakes at the time. And that persisted for quite a while. In fact, I always thought growing up that when I became an adult and I moved out on my own and I had some of my own money and I got to make my own decisions, that I would eventually own a snake. I was fascinated by ball pythons. I was fascinated by boas. My parents said, never in our house will you have a snake. And I thought to myself, well, when I'm an adult and it's my house, I'm going to get a snake. Well, that didn't last long. I moved out of my parents' house within about 8 months or so. I got married to my beautiful wife, Amanda, and I told her I had always wanted to own a snake. I was going to go out and look for a snake. And she said, never in my house will we own a snake. She loved cats. She liked dogs okay. She liked my dog. And so over the years, we've had cats. We've had dogs. We've never had snakes. Fast forward a few years, and we began the process to be foster parents, and then we became adoptive parents, and we learned very quickly that our biological child, Cade, had different likes and needs and desires than the children that we had come into our home through foster care and through adoption. And one of the things that really was strange is we noticed that Cade loves dogs. He loves cats. He likes furry animals. So rabbits and hamsters, gerbils, guinea pigs, we've tried all of that over the years. And he really liked anything with fur on them. He had always been fascinated by snakes too, maybe because I was. And so when we'd go to fairs or festivals, he would hold snakes. We've got pictures of him as a kid holding snakes and really just enjoying himself. Even one fair we went to, I remember that there was a vendor there that raised alligators. And they had an alligator's mouth taped shut, and he got to hold that, and he thought that was one of the coolest things ever. But my wife, in all that time, she said that she would never own a reptile. She especially didn't like snakes. When we started fostering, we had children that come in and out of our house that were scared of the dog that we had. Our dog, for reference, is about 14 pounds. He's a Japanese chin, black and white. His name's Oreo. He's probably going to make some appearances on this channel. He is adorable, not threatening, great with kids, loves to sleep next to babies, be their protector. But we've had kids coming in and out of our home that really didn't like dogs or cats or furry animals, and we couldn't figure it out. For a long time, we just thought that they had had bad experiences with them. It wasn't until much later, when we were in therapy sessions trying to understand how to understand our children, and in particular how to understand one child that we have, that we discovered that it might be a textural issue, that what we find comforting, what we find soothing and reassuring, the holding a cat on your lap, holding a dog on your lap, holding a gerbil even, or a guinea pig, what we find soothing and relaxing for a lot of children and people with sensory issues just isn't that way. The hair or the fur or some combination thereof just really sets them off, and it doesn't bring about any soothing emotions. The sensation itself of touching that hair or that fur seems to be too much. And we noticed that with our oldest daughter, Adeline, that she is one of these children that has sensory processing issues. And one of the things that she didn't like that or gravitate towards that other kids did was our dog Oreo. Most of the children we had come into our house as babies, they were okay with Oreo. But Adeline didn't come into our house as a baby. She joined us when she was about 2, almost 3 years old. And she never has been comfortable around dogs or cats or soft animals. She'll tolerate them, but she doesn't like them. They don't bring her a sense of calm and peace. In fact, they make her really anxious, it seems like. And so she has a fight or flight or freeze response when she's around them. And that's not a great situation for a child to be living in. We went to some reptile fairs, we went to some expos, we went to some other fairs and country in the park things in our area. And when there were reptile people nearby, she always asked to hold the snakes. She was drawn to them. When we moved to where we live now, our next door neighbors have a number of snakes. I don't know, 6, 8 snakes, something like that. To us, that was a lot of snakes when we moved here. And Adeline would try to find an excuse to go over there and pet the snakes or hold the snakes. She just loved going and visiting the snakes. Over time, Amanda, my wife, and I discovered that when she's holding a snake or a snake is wrapped around her arm, in her lap, around her neck, we have never seen our daughter exhibit so much peace and serenity and calm that there's something about the sense of touch that a snake provides that feeds her soul in a way that no other pet does. Now, I have loved every dog that I've ever had in my house, and I love Oreo. I loved Casey, my childhood dog, and we had another dog growing up, Stallion. He was wild, but I loved him. We've had other dogs around, and family members have dogs. And dogs are great. I am a dog person. I'm an animal person. I love all animals. Always have since I was a little kid. At one point, I wanted to be a zookeeper until I realized you'd have to be cleaning poop. And then I became a foster parent, and I clean poop all the time. So that doesn't bother me anymore. I don't care about cleaning poop. But what I do want is what's best for my daughter. And I want her to live her best life, and I want her to be comfortable around animals. In particular, I want her to get a sense of peace and calmness and joy of owning a pet, having a pet, the way that I have over the years with dogs and other animals that have come into my house. And so my wife looked at me and said, I think maybe we need to get this girl a snake. I never thought my wife would say that. I never thought that she would be okay with having a snake in our house. And I'm actually sitting in the corner, the alcove of our bedroom, and you can kind of see what it's turned into behind me. So the name of the channel should have given away what this is about. But if it didn't, and you're here and you're confused by what you're seeing, around me in this room, I think you figured it out now. We're talking about snakes on this channel, and we called it Sixth Sense Snakes because snakes have this extra sense that humans don't have. Now we know that humans actually have more than 5 senses. Some of us are content to just use our 5 senses, but we've got other senses that help us with balance and coordination to know what direction we're facing, whether we're facing up or down, straight ahead, something's to the right, something's to the left. We have these spatial senses as well as the 5 classic ones that we think about. But snakes have an extra sense, and it's attached to their tongue. They flick their tongue out, and they get information, and then they stick their tongue into their brain, and they kind of taste the air and map the room based on what comes back in the tongue. And I think they have another sense. I can't prove it, but I think they have another sense. And a lot of keepers that we studied and talked to, they think it's true too, that snakes feed off of other people's energy. And not only do they feed off of it and do they respond to it, I think what we've seen is that they also can regulate energy in a room, if that makes any sense. I told you I like to tell stories, and here's a story about what happened a couple weeks after we got a snake. Here's one of our snakes. This is my son Cade's snake. She's a blue-eyed Lucy. I'll see if I can get her to come out. She's been on my lap the whole time. She's kind of sleeping. She was sleeping when I got her out. She's a very sweet girl. But a couple days actually after we got Adeline her first snake, what happened was she was having a really rough day. She didn't have a very good day at school. She didn't have a very good day at home. She was sitting at the dinner table and things just kept going downhill. And as parents, you want your children to just act the way you want them to act. And it's tempting sometimes to say, just act right. What's wrong with you? But we've realized through therapy, and we've realized through interactions with her, and we've watched her interactions with the snakes that we have, her snake in particular, that snakes can regulate her energy level and help get her back on track. And so instead of yelling at her, instead of punishing her, hey girl, instead of making her go to her room or separating her, taking things away from her because she'd had a rough day, what we did instead was we brought her upstairs and sat her down on the couch that we have sitting over here, and we gave her her snake. And her snake's name is Mario. He's gorgeous. He's a yellow banana, super pastel. He's got some other stuff. Super powerful breeder, I think. We'll find out. That's a surprise at the end of the video. But he wrapped around her wrist and he laid his head on her arm, and she immediately calmed down. Her energy regulated, her sense of freneticness kind of disappeared, her ability to listen came back to her. And it only took about 20 minutes. I wouldn't call it snake therapy, but there is something about the texture, the pressure that a snake exerted by holding on to her. Whatever it was, it helped her immensely when she was having a really rough day. As we've gone through therapy, we've talked to a special therapists that we go to, and they've shared that they've heard the same thing, that the children that don't respond well to dogs or cats or other typical, what people might think is typical pets, although I think snakes should be considered typical pets, that the children and people with sensory issues, sensory regulation issues especially, that snakes do it for them. So we've called this channel Sixth Sense Snakes because we believe snakes help that sixth sense of people, that energy level, to regulate and to calm down. Not only do they feed off of it, they help regulate it. And especially for children, for adults, for teenagers that have trouble with that sort of thing, our hope is that we'll be able to go out in the community and work with some of those groups that we know about, that we're attached to already, and offer this sense of hope and this sense of maybe outside the box thinking about how to de-stress people's children, how to de-stress as adults. Take a look at this beautiful girl as she opens up and comes out. Oh, she got scared of the camera. Yeah, it's okay. Yeah, she's super friendly, very nice. She's already integrated well into the family. She just wants to explore and crawl all over me. But snakes are great. They're tremendous pets. They're great energy regulators. And we're hoping to socialize all the snakes that we have. We're trying to do that. I won't tell you how many we have. That's a big surprise coming down the line for a lot of you, I think. We try to socialize them, though. We try to help them develop really good personalities, kind of therapeutic personalities eventually. And as we raise beautiful snakes, really controlled snakes that are able to do this, our hope is to eventually, very soon, start breeding some of these snakes so that we can make more and spread the love and positivity in the world. So maybe you're here and you thought to yourself, I never want to see anything about snakes, but want to support this family. Maybe you're here because you're curious what we're all about. Maybe you found your way here after a few years and you heard about what we're doing and the projects we're doing in the community and the snake world. That would be awesome to think that we've had that kind of longevity from the beginning. But I want to tell you, if you're here and you thought maybe snakes aren't right for me, but you've heard some of these stories, and you're like, I've never considered it, but I'd like to look into it, let us know. Talk to us. We'd be happy to share what we've experienced with you and take a look at what Narcissa, this is Narcissa, what Narcissa is doing. This is pretty typical behavior for her. She's hanging on to me with her tail, and she's crawling all over my hand and kind of wrapping around it with her body, but she's venturing out. She's exploring. They're very inquisitive creatures, but this one's pretty calm. She isn't used to me flopping my hands around as much as I do when I talk, but she's definitely interested in what I'm talking about. I'll tell you that. She keeps looking at me and wondering why I'm talking so much. But if you're interested, if this has meant something to you, or you think this could mean something to you, or if you just think this is a really cool project that we're engaged with, we would love to have you join us on this journey. And you can do that a few ways. Please like and subscribe to this channel. That's huge to get this channel growing. That'll be amazing. Please share this video with anybody that you want to get interested in snakes, that maybe they're afraid. They think, oh, they're not good pets for kids. They're great pets for kids. They are tremendous. All of our kids love to see the snakes. Even our 2-year-old comes in here and she just wants to see them. But yeah, so snakes are tremendous pets for kids. They're just really loving. They're energy regulators. They don't take a lot of work. If you want to support us on this journey, if you want to join us in getting the message out there, either through educational events or through making more snakes in the world that are like these snakes, that are super calm and super friendly and very loving, and you want some insider access, maybe some pictures of some of the events that we do, some behind the scenes footage of our kids playing with the snakes, head on over to Patreon. The link should be in the description. We'd love to have you join us there at any level. It's really appreciated, but we've got a few perks that we're working on. You'll notice one of the things that we don't have right now is a channel logo or a business logo even. And you should really have one of those before you start, but what we thought would be really cool is to get a few samples, to get a few examples, a few options, and let our patrons help us choose what exactly our logo should be. And so that'll be one of the first polls that's going to be up over on our Patreon community. So join us over there. Join us back on this channel. We're hoping to release a video at least once a week. We've got a TikTok. Go find our TikTok. My wife handles the social media, and you'll see pictures that are released to everybody on there. We also have an Instagram. We have some stories and some reels going up different places. But at least one video a week is what we're hoping for on this channel. Sometimes two. We'll surprise you with maybe two, maybe a live stream here and there as well. But we're just really looking forward to this journey, to getting this message out there that snakes can be therapeutic even, comforting. Can be great pets for those kids. I mean, look at her now. Like, wow, right? Look at that. Gorgeous snake. She's got all sorts of special genes in her too. And yeah. So thanks for joining us on this video. Thanks for joining me. Again, I'm Nathan Carlson. I'm with Sixth Sense Snakes. You probably know that if you found your way here. But love having you here. Thanks for joining us on this journey. And I can't wait to see you next time.